My name is Ryuuichi Kashima. Some people know me as just a high schooler, someone who spends his days taking care of my little brother Kotaru, but my life it became something much bigger than I ever imagined. This is the story of how I walked through loss, curses, battles, and even miracles alongside friends who became family, and how, by God's grace, we found light in places where no one thought it could shine. When I was young, I thought of my parents as free spirits. They loved to travel, to chase new horizons. That left me at home most of the time, taking care of Kotaru. I didn't mind, I've always loved being his big brother. But one day, while they were away, I lost them forever in a plane crash. That was the moment my childhood ended. I never got to say goodbye. All I could do was hold Kotaru close, promise him I'd be both brother and parent, and keep walking forward. It wasn't long after that I was drawn into something far beyond myself. Soga, the land we called home, had been under a terrible curse. At first it felt like an ordinary legend, a shadow hanging over the prefecture. But then I met the girls of Ryuuichi, idols brought back from the dead by Kotaro Tatsumi, or as I later learned, Inui. These girls weren't just zombies, they were friends, dreamers, sisters to one another, and soon to me too. Together, we discovered that the curse was real, and that it could only be broken by faith, by music, and by standing side by side against the darkness. We sang, we prayed, we performed concerts where light and sound weren't just entertainment, they were weapons of hope. And I saw something amazing, scripture itself, alive in the voices of idols, breaking through despair. When we sang about God's creation, about His love, even the shadows trembled, but the enemy had a name, Lilith. She mocked us, tore open old wounds, and revealed truths that were hard to bear. She claimed responsibility for the curse, for the deaths of people we loved, for the chaos across Saga. She even revealed Kotaro's past, his training as a ghoul, the dark side that had haunted him. For a moment, it felt like everything was crumbling. But Sakura, the heart of Ryuuichi, reminded us that none of us had to carry this burden alone. Even Inui wasn't lost, he had been trying in his own broken way to protect us. Lilith unleashed horrors, apothecans, armies of monsters bent on destroying the world. Snowstorms froze the air, Wi-Fi went down, and it felt like the end had come. I thought I'd failed my parents, that I couldn't protect anyone, but in that darkest moment, Sakura and the others stood by me, and then a hooded figure stepped forward. It was Jesus, not a vision, not a dream, but the living Christ, who had been guiding us all along. He looked at us with eyes full of strength and compassion. He called us not just zombies, but divine zombies. He gave us wings, angelic and bright, and reminded us that the world was no longer afraid of who we were. People were ready to see us as light, not monsters. Jesus faced Lilith himself, while we sang one final time that year. And in that concert, the curse shattered, Saga was free, the apothecan army was banished, and for the first time, we could breathe without fear. Mr. Tatsumi told me I was no longer just a bystander, I was his asset manager. Sakura was promoted to leader of Ryuuichi. And in that moment, when the crowd roared with joy, Sakura turned to me. She thanked me for guiding her, for teaching her, for standing beside her when she thought she couldn't go on. And then, in front of everyone, we kissed. It was our first kiss, and the crowd cheered not because it was perfect, but because it was true. Time passed, battles ended, life began to heal, and by October of 2025, I had something I never thought possible, a family of my own. Sakura and I had a daughter, Karin, and Kotaru was growing strong. We were still zombies, still marked by what we had been through, but we weren't afraid of that anymore. We were Jed, I too, warriors of light, but also just a family. I remember one snowy morning, telling the kids, "Be sure to brush your teeth, and well put your makeup on." They laughed just like kids should. We were headed to see Zombieland Saga Umijina Paradise. Mr. Tatsumi offered us a ride in the van, but we just smiled and said we'd fly there instead. With wings on our backs and love in our hearts, we rose into the air together. That's how I know the curse is truly broken. Because even after all the pain, the battles, the loss, we found joy again. We found family, and we found faith that carried us through the darkest nights. This is my story. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. Check out my full story, link is in the description. As always, God bless you, and may the force be with you, always.